Hi everyone, welcome to Advantech's live webinar. Today we're going to talk about the latest technologies from Advantech and AMD for the gaming industry. Here I'm very happy to introduce today's speakers. Mitchell Furman, Senior Vertical Marketing Manager at AMD, and Craig Stapleton, Product Director from Advantech. In today's webinar, we'll first touch on the challenges of gaming equipment manufacturers and how advanced technologies can help overcome those challenges. Also, as a kind reminder to the audience, please feel free to type your questions on the question box on the control panel, located right on the right-hand side of your screen. Your questions will be answered at the end of the webinar. Okay, so Craig, to begin today's discussion, can you share with the audience about the biggest technical challenges that gaming developers might have?
Hello everyone, thanks for joining our webinar. Gaming as a segment of the embedded computing market has some unique characteristics, and the trends in the industry, such as the trend towards more elaborate, immersive graphics for slot machines, pushes the limits of embedded computer hardware. The first challenge I would like to list is finding embedded lifecycle hardware with prosumer level performance and a set of features suitable for use in slot machines. While there are many embedded computing platforms from many suppliers, very few suppliers offer products specifically designed for the regulated gaming industry. This sometimes forces the OEM to design their own ancillary add-on boards for the security and extra I/O needed for a slot machine platform. Designing ancillary cards is an expensive and time-consuming process and requires resources to maintain those add-on cards for the life of the product. The second challenge is the trend towards higher resolution screens and multiple screens on slot machines. As slot machines increasingly try to offer the player an immersive, multimedia experience, the demands on the hardware increase greatly. The third challenge for the OEM in gaming is meeting the requirements of regulatory compliance, which vary in different markets around the world, but generally require the hardware to include security features such as physical anti-tamper, software integrity checking, control of boot mechanisms, and sometimes even encryption. Without these security features and mechanisms, the end product cannot be approved by the various gaming bodies which will approve the machines for each market. And the final challenge for the larger gaming OEM, who typically requires customized or proprietary platforms designed from the ground up, is how to find an ODM partner who can handle the embedded design and who also understands the gaming industry. As we will describe later, Advantech, working with AMD's latest embedded platforms, is able to help customers solve these challenges and enable them to concentrate on what they do best, making engaging and exciting slot machines for the next generation of games.
Thanks, Craig. Now, Mitchell, can you elaborate a little bit on the latest technologies that can solve these challenges? And later, I would also like to hear from Craig. Mitchell?
Hi, my name is Mitch Furman. I'm responsible for casino gaming at AMD Embedded Group, and I want to go over some of the challenges we have with our APUs and GPUs in developing more innovative solutions and more compelling solutions for the end users. Clearly, our goal is to provide solutions that will catch the eyeballs of people walking by in casinos. The more you catch their eyeballs, the more you interest them, the more they sit at the table, sit at the game, and of course spend more money. So in order to do this, there's many challenges. One is scalability of designs, having one design that can fit a range of different types of slot machines. You can have a low-cost entry-level slot machine, a high-end, high-performance slot machines. But once again, streamlining designs so that you have the same part that can be used in multiple locations. And also machines getting more complicated. There's greater need for more I/Os. More I/Os, that means more lights on the machines, more speakers on the machines, more player tracking, input cards, credit cards, and such. So there's much more demand for more I/Os. And also more screens. One screen is certainly not going to be enough anymore. You need to have multiple screens, 2 screens, 3 screens, or more. Higher resolutions for these screens. They can't be low res anymore. You need to present a much higher resolution, even 4K content. And 3D acceleration. You can't just have basic video and basic 2D static demos. You need interactive 3D, real-time rendering 3D that the player can interact with. And also compute performance that can allow for gesture control manipulation, facial recognition and such. There's many different requirements that will need more compute performance than just playing the game. And of course, secure boot and secure content are always going to be critical. Okay, next slide, please. So now we have two different kinds of APUs in our lineups. One is the G series SoC, which is our lower end, lower power, lower cost solution. And then we also have a G series product, which of course would be a higher end, higher power solution. But first we'll talk about this G series, what we call the Step Eagle program. So here's a block diagram that goes over the main components of this feature, of this APU. So I don't want to go over too much details of this Step Eagle APU. Suffice it to say that the different feature sets are listed here that I want you all to be familiar with and have for your reference. But now if you go to the next slide, please. So our G series products, once again, has the scalability of designs. So you can design one main board for this product that will support even dual core or quad core options for ultra low power of 6 watts and all the way up to 25 watt solutions. Once again, one chip that's able to range all of these different kind of solutions. And once again, this G series product also has several IOs, multiple PCI Express by 1 lanes. So once again, you can support multiple PCI Express devices, and well as 8 different USB ports. We also support SATA devices and SD card support. So once again, multiple inputs, multiple IOs, which is going to be key for any new development. The product also supports multiple screens. Once again, dual screens. You can have one screen as a main play screen, a second screen be on the more of a static demo or a secondary game, secondary bonus game. So once again, the more screens you have, the more interactive the whole environment can be. And once again, this is still on a low power entry-level solution, not really a high-end solution. So you're able to give your entry-level solutions more dynamic interface, more dynamic range, and more eyeball catching ability. And this solution will still be able to support 4K resolutions at 30 Hertz. So even the newest generation of displays can be supported on our G series. And 4K solutions are something that will be very important to attract users to your environments. And of course, these solutions have a 3D acceleration. 3D acceleration, once again, supports a new generation of graphics, new generation of APIs, such as DirectX and OpenGL, and also support other engines like Unity, which is obviously very key for a lot of the software developers in the casino gaming market. And our low-end solutions in G series also support OpenCL, which means dedicated compute functions that can be separate from the CPU, which means you can offload CPU requirements for pure compute functionality, like set for gesture controls and other innovative inputs. And also, there is a dedicated H.264 video decode, so you can have the video decode in HD be done completely on the GPU, completely offloading requirements from the CPU. So this means you have better performance on the CPU, lower utilization on the CPU, while still getting high quality video decode in a dedicated video block. And much higher graphics performance as well. So this block diagram is also much for your reference, but I'd like to go right to the next slide, please. So when we look at the R series Merlin Falcon product, we're looking at, once again, a dual or quad core power solutions of 12 watts all the way to 35 watts. So once again, this is a higher end solution, providing much more horsepower for CPU or graphics performance. In terms of I/O, once again, it has much faster PCI Express, so you have more options for PCI Express Gen 3. Still have full access for 8 USB, including USB 3. You also have full support for SATA, SD inputs, full support for UART, I2C, and I2S content and interfaces. And even for screen outputs, we have 3 screens that can be supported here instead of just 2. So you can imagine an environment where you can have a main player screen, topper for secondary game displays, and then even a third screen for a push-button interactive console display. So once again, these kind of displays, this kind of multiple screen solutions really attract users to your environment. And beyond that, of course, we have the 4K resolutions to support ultra high def content, which is supported on this product as well. And once again, if you ever walk into a electronics store, you know that people stop when they see the 4K TVs, and they'll stop when you see a 4K content on these casino machines as well. So 4K, once again, is a big driver for next generation solutions in the casino. And 3D, obviously the higher power solutions with these products, you have much higher 3D acceleration. Once again, to have 3D games that could be much more interactive, much more detailed, and much more engaging for the end users. Same for compute performance, quad-core CPU or 8 compute engines. So to explain that, a GPU has cores like a CPU, and the R series has 8 independent cores for graphics performance. So that's a lot of performance you can have for regular 3D graphic acceleration or even for pure OpenCL compute acceleration. And then we also have secure boot. So there's a dedicated secure processor embedded in the AMD R series APU, which allows for secure boot. So once again, it's part of the graphics, part of the APU that is able to be accelerated and be separate from the main APU CPU functionality. So that when a system boots up, it only boots up with our secure PSP platform, which means that it is not engaging the main OS, is not engaging the main BIOS. It is only engaging the secure boot for secure handshakes and verification. And then once that is done, it will then turn on the rest of the APU to turn on the rest of the functions of the system. We also have another feature called FreeSync, which is allows the ability for the display to synchronize with the 3D applications. So when you're playing 3D applications, there's times when the application and the system only can maybe do 30 frames a second or 40 frames a second or 50. It's always changing. And what FreeSync allows you to do is synchronize that changing frame rate in the graphics application to the actual physical display so that it goes to 30 hertz or 60 hertz or 70 hertz, whatever the actual 3D output does. That results in much lower tearing and much more fluid video and 3D graphics playback. And once again, this product also has a dedicated H.264 video decode to maintain very high quality video playback, while of course not using the CPU and not using the graphics GPU compute engines either. So a dedicated hardware video decode. Next slide, please. And now we have also our discrete graphics solution. So we have our APUs with graphics, but we also sell separate graphics, which are a very good complement to the graphics ability of the APU. So by putting in a discrete graphics unit, you are able to get maybe 2 times or even 3 times the graphics performance you have with the APU. So to have a next generation, next level of graphics performance. The higher the graphics performance, once again, the more effects you can have, the more lighting effects, shadow effects, fire effects, anything you want to have in your 3D application can be done with more graphics performance. And that's what we allow with our discrete graphics. Beyond just the extra graphics performance, you also have the ability to have even more screens. Our discrete graphics products are able to have 6 outputs per device, which when combined with a 2 or 3 or 4 screen device from the APU, you can have up to 10 screens per system for table gaming, for much higher resolution topper systems for video playback, for separate advertising screens. Once again, you could have much more screens, obviously showing much more things to attract much more people to your environment. So we have these products such as the 8860, 8870 is a higher performing solution, and 8950 is our highest performing solutions, and they come in 2 different form factors, an MXM or PCI Express card. And all of these are compatible with most Advantech DPX S and C series products. And these products support new APIs such as the X12 and Vulkan, which are much represent lower level optimizations. And from these, you get tremendous performance gains by having less overhead on the APIs. And also have extended life on our 6 series products. The 6465 is an ultra low power, ultra low cost. So it's really a low sub 10 watt or 10 watt power solution to provide multiple ways to get multiple displays out there, albeit with lower performance. And we have other software features such as EDIT management to force EDITs out, to force display outputs on all monitors, whether the monitors are physically connected or not, custom timings for custom resolutions, 10-bit colors, affinity configurations of 1x6, 6x1, any different kind of multiple screen configurations can be set up here, and affinity mixing modes to mix portrait and landscapes in a single surface environment. Okay, so that is all I want to talk about right now for the kind of solutions we can provide for a lot of the challenges we see. Now I'd like to hand it over to Craig again. Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, Mitch. The first challenge that I identified was finding embedded hardware platforms with high performance and the full set of features needed for the gaming industry. One of the ways we can address this is by using the latest APUs and platforms from AMD, which allow us to design our products with embedded life cycles of up to 10 years. Advantech also carefully selects other key components on our products to ensure long life cycle, and our component management department expertly controls component sourcing to maximize product life cycles. For the performance piece of the puzzle, we can rely on AMD's leadership position in embedded graphics and discrete graphics to allow us to produce platforms that are scalable by design and meet the performance needs even at the highest end. With a wide range of price and performance and scalability, the latest products give the gaming OEM the performance he needs at any price point for different market segments. Finally, the matter of a gaming-specific feature set is covered by our DPX series products, which include all the hardware features needed for a typical gaming application, all on one board. The feature set has been evolved over 15 years to meet the various technical regulatory standards and avoid the OEM having to design any add-on boards to meet those regulations. Next slide, please. The second challenge I mentioned before is the trend to higher resolution and multiple screens, 2, 3 or more monitors on a slot machine. We address this by leveraging the graphics performance of the latest chipsets such as AMD's G series and R series SoCs, which incorporate integrated graphics cores capable of driving the higher resolution screens and multiple monitor screens while still maintaining the performance frames per second for video decode of multimedia streams or the generation of 3D graphics content. Our DPX range of products is optimized for highest graphics performance, whether from the integrated graphics or scaled up by use of a discrete graphics GPU. Customers can use the available PCI Express X16 graphics slot on our DPX S series products to install high-performance discrete graphics cards such as those from AMD based on the 8860, 8870 or the 8950 in order to further scale up the performance and drive the higher resolution screens or add the extra monitors. AMD's software solutions and driver features are also becoming increasingly important in multi-monitor designs. EDID control, for example, gets over the problem of monitors being auto-detected and Windows Desktop being rearranged on the fly when monitors are plugged and unplugged, which is undesirable in a slot machine cabinet where we want the monitors to maintain their location on the desktop and their ID number. To overcome the third group of challenges, which is meeting regulatory compliance, our products include many security features on board, and we also have several security software products customers can use to meet the regulatory compliance and self-imposed security requirements. Some of the hardware features include an advanced physical anti-tamper system, onboard non-volatile memory for metering and record-keeping requirements, I/O specialized for the connection of external meters, and our proprietary board format in itself provides extra security over industry standard board formats which have inherently less security and are easier to hack into. Secure Boot and TPM Suite are two security software solutions offered by Advantech, and I will describe them each on the next slide. We also offer a SAS protocol engine that can be used to save the customer months of programming time if they plan to offer their products for sale into casinos that require connection to the industry standard SAS network for slot floor management and player tracking. Advantech's gaming products have been approved in almost every major gaming market around the world, so customers can be confident that their end product will be able to meet the approvals. Next slide, please. The two main security software products that I wanted to introduce are called Secure Boot and TPM Suite. The Advantech Secure Boot is a BIOS-level media validation tool designed to meet the requirements of GLI 11, as well as other regulations in other jurisdictions. The SDK provides customers libraries and tools, as well as examples of how to configure their security architecture to their personal preferences. This SDK has allowed dozens of our customers to obtain approvals in most of the major markets. One side note for clarification, this software product, Secure Boot from Advantech, is different from AMD's Secure Boot that Mitch mentioned, which is a function of the platform security processor included in the latest AMD SoCs. However, in the future, we will be looking at how our BIOS level Secure Boot can make use of AMD's platform security processor for added functionality and performance. TPM Suite is another ready-made solution SDK specifically designed for gaming. All of our gaming platforms include on board a powerful security coprocessor called a Trusted Platform Module, or TPM. The SDK provides libraries and examples for customers to use the TPM in a variety of ways to carry out the typical security functions needed in a gaming machine. Functions such as platform authentication, software digital rights management, license control, encryption, access control, even random number generation. All these specialized software products save the customer months of programming time and facilitate their approvals process by providing tried and trusted protocols and security architectures. Next slide, please. The final challenge that I identified was that of finding a suitable ODM partner to design custom platforms for gaming. This is an area where Advantech has invested heavily over the last 5 years to assemble a design team which can execute complex designs efficiently for our customers, leveraging Advantech's huge design library of embedded products and tailoring them to the needs of gaming. Our gaming-focused design-to-order service, or DTOS team, works closely with customers to develop a specification which often includes many extra gaming features. We can add intelligence in the form of a secondary microcontroller or custom FPGA or firmware for functions such as security, power control, diagnostics, system health, or other programmable features and communication functions in the slot machine system. Our team works closely with the customer's engineers using a holistic design approach, which incorporates thorough CAD simulations for signal integrity and thermal performance, 3D design to ensure exact mechanical fit, EMC compliance testing, design for manufacturing analysis, component longevity review, and cost analysis. All of this ensures that the final product is reliable, cost-effective, and integrates seamlessly with the rest of the customer's system. This close collaboration means our team becomes effectively an extension of the customer's own design team. Our team's vertical market knowledge of the gaming industry helps in communications and understanding of the constraints and priorities involved. This slide shows the key elements of our DTOS strategy and the strengths of our unique team in the industry.
Thanks, Craig and Mitchell. To wrap up today's discussion, can you both share some key takeaways with our audience?
So the key takeaway here, the things I want you to remember most when you think about this presentation, is that AMD and Advantech are offering you solutions that offer more screens with more pixels doing more things. The more active the content, the more likely the customer is going to stop. I mean, that's the goal here. You have a big machine sitting on the floor with lots of other things and lots of other distractions. You want them to stop at your machine. And the best way to do that is with this high-end 3D acceleration and video acceleration, creating much more engaging content and making people want to stop. And also the richer the content, super high resolution, 4K content, is also going to be able to attract people and stop them and get them stopping at your system. And also with more screens, with 3, 4, 6, 10 screens, you're opening a whole new range of different kind of play options, more things to keep them enticed to keep on playing, more things to attract their attention at the same time, more things to just want them to play. Once again, the goal, once they stop at your place, the more likely they will stay, and the more likely they'll play, and the more likely they will pay. So really, that's the goal. AMD and Advantech are giving you solutions that just will make the customer stop and play with these systems, compared to the older systems that might have been around before.
To summarize them, by leveraging the advantages of the latest AMD chipsets and adding vertical market know-how in the form of software and hardware features for security, we can give customers the performance required for tomorrow's slot machines and casino games, but tailored to the exact needs of the industry. From low-end, passive-cooled platforms using AMD's G-Series, Through mid-range R series and right up to high-end platforms with discrete graphics, we can provide the gaming OEM the range of price and performance to address all market segments and overcome many of his challenges. For the larger OEM, who often needs full or partial custom designs, our gaming-focused DTOS team is able to harness the same chipsets and industry knowledge to realize complex ODM solutions, working closely with the customer to efficiently deliver quality designs and products.
Thanks, Craig. I've noticed we have several questions raised by the audience online. But due to the length of today's webinar, we'll take 2 questions here, and the rest of your questions will be answered by our technical staff at the end of the webinar. So the first one is for Advantech. I heard you say that specialized microcontrollers were becoming popular on gaming boards. Can you explain why and what functions they perform? Craig, can you take the question?
Yes, for some years we've included a small micro on our standard products to handle functions such as precise power control, logging of power events, auto power on and off, battery monitoring, and managing the different system health information that's available on the PC, such as temperatures, voltages, and fan speeds. That information comes from various different sources, making it hard for the customer's application to read all the different sources. What the micro does is to provide a unified interface to gather all that information and log it so the customer's application can make use of it. This can add valuable reliability and security information for a gaming machine. Recently, we've expanded the functions of the microcontroller for some ODM designs to include other functions such as asset control, backplane detection, diagnostic LED display, system temperature and logic box fan control, and even graphics card and RAM temperature, as well as external I2C communications. It's a very flexible tool which we can customize for each design's requirements while keeping the firmware and code totally separate from the main code that runs on the CPU. Our firmware team is expert at customizing the code to provide this specialized functionality, and we are finding as slot machines become more sophisticated that the systems can benefit greatly from this kind of extra manageability and logging for reliability and preventive maintenance.
Thanks, Craig. The second question goes to AMD, Mitchell. Is it true that discrete graphics chips are becoming more common on gaming systems?
Thanks for the question. Yes, definitely. Discrete graphics chips are becoming more common in gaming system. I mean, the reason are, I guess, pretty obvious. You know, the end customer is being surrounded by better TVs at home, better graphics on their phone, more detailed games on their consoles. So, you know, our gaming machines need to continue to step up their own performance and quality if they're going to keep up with these kind of new expectations. You can't have 2D slot machine where you expect to get customers to spend their money when they're looking at these amazing 3D games on their little 7-inch phone. Having a simple low-resolution 2D platform is not going to pull somebody off the floor anymore. You need something which is going to stop them in their tracks. The more 3D, the larger the screen, the higher the resolutions, the better chance they will stop. Once again, like I said before, when you're looking at an electronics store, 4K screens are where people stop. They're not stopping at the tiny little screens anymore. They need the 4K, they need the higher resolutions, they need more oomph to get them excited. Also, with the hardware GPU video decodes, we can decode multiple high-definition video streams to keep each system as active as possible while leaving the CPU available for more compute functions. Once again, this is something you need in a discrete graphics chip, which you couldn't get in the previous generations of CPUs or even APUs. And then there's always one concern about putting a discrete graphics in these systems. Is it going to fit in the systems? Because we still have a physical limit, and also there's a power draw limits in these slot machines and such. But we offer a range of options that can scale from a simple 35-watt graphics device all the way to a 90-watt graphics device, and all while this can still fit into a small MXM form factor, which is much smaller than a PCI Express card, so very small. So, I mean, great graphics can be a great differentiator between a simple machine and a great machine.
Thank you, Mitchell. Now is the end of today's webinar. I want to thank you all for your participation. We'll reply to your online inquiries as soon as possible. If you still have any questions after today's webinar, please feel free to email us or just call our hotline. Thank you again and goodbye.